Hey, what's up everybody? Social Reefer here, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Before I get into it, as usual, you already know I gotta give everybody a big shout out that's been engaging on my previous content. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. Thank you for hitting up the comments. I really appreciate it. And that's why I do this, for educational purposes. I learn from you, you learn from me, and we keep the ball rolling. Without further ado, today I'm gonna talk about my in-tank treatment process. Today is day 5. It's been 2 days since I completed the actual treatment. And right now I'm just doing post-treatment activities. So I'm gonna fill you guys in basically on what I did for the most part from the top of my head and let you know what's going on now and what are the pros, what are the cons, things like that I've caught on to so far. So without further ado, today is day 5. I did a 20-gallon water change last night. Before I did my water change last night, for those of you who follow me on my Instagram, you would notice that I posted up a video of this little fellow right here, my Achilles tendon. And my Achilles tendon caught ick because during the treatment, I had to turn off my UV light. So that right there is a con of the in-tank treatment process. You know, you might have to turn off some equipment that is essential to your fish's health. And that's not something I considered. I guess I took it for granted because I've been running that UV for so long. I haven't had any outbreaks in my tank. And, you know, I shut it off for only 3 days and boom, this guy starts getting symptoms. Now, it's very minimal. It's not something that I'm concerned about. And if you pay attention to him, he's very active and he's been eating like crazy. What I did to counter that is that I'm feeding extra and I'm adding vitamins like Celcon to the foods that I'm feeding the fish. So right now I have multiple nori feeders. I got my printed reef nori feeder over here. I got another nori feeder back over there. Sorry, it's not focusing properly. And I got another nori feeder over here. And I'm, for the next few days, well, up until, you know, I start seeing the symptoms regress, I'm gonna be heavily feeding them and everything is gonna be dosed with Celcon. And if I get a little bit of garlic in hand, I'll also add the garlic in there. But the main goal is to keep them eating, keep them fat, keep them healthy throughout this until they could bounce back and I could get all my equipment running again. Right now, all my equipment is off because just last night, I dosed the nitrifying bacteria into my tank. And in order for the nitrifying bacteria to get the best results possible, you gotta turn off your mechanical filtration and allow the bacteria to stick to your rock work, substrate, and all that good stuff, you know? So just like the in-tank treatment, I turned off my protein skimmer. I turned off my reactor. I turned off my fleece roller. You could hear the water in the sump is overflowing. I also turned off my UV again. I'm planning on turning it back on tonight, somewhere close to midnight. If not after midnight, I stay up late. But I dosed the bacteria last night around 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 a.m., yes. And I'm trying to give it closer to that 24-hour period than the 12-hour period because they say 12 to 24 hours. I want to maximize the results, so I want to go closer to the 24-hour period. In terms of my corals, they all been doing great. Very puffy, very full polyp extension, very everything, guys. Like, for real, I'm not even lying to you. Every single coral in my tank, except a specific small amount of chosen ones that are, they already have a known history of not really fully extending. Like this Ghani that I mentioned on my previous video over here. That's probably the only one I could talk about. But outside of that, all of my other corals, including the SPS, they're getting great polyp extension and everything is showing me and giving me good signs that the tank is healthy. Now, for the next few days, what I'm going to be doing is monitoring my nutrient levels And that's pretty much it. I'm gonna follow my regular schedule that I normally do. The goal is to get back to my normal schedule. Now, in terms of the treatment, a lot of you guys in the comments been asking, what did I use? Did I use Cipro for the antibiotics? No, I didn't. I used something called, and I'm sorry, I didn't invest the time to learn how to pronounce it properly, but levofloxacin, something like that. It's an antibiotic that is categorized similar to Cipro, but it's not Cipro. And if you do some research into it, it's kind of a little bit more concentrated, per se, and it could be a little bit more aggressive, so you got to be careful with your dosage. Hence why I didn't use the same amount of milligrams that I would otherwise use if I was using Cipro. But for my particular aquarium, I rounded down to 200 gallons. It's a 230 gallon total system volume, but considering my rock work, because I have over 150 pounds of rock in my tank, in the display, including my sump, as you can see down here, and minus all of the equipment that's in my tank, you know, you gotta round down because it's not gonna be the complete total 230 gallons. So I round down to 200 gallons, and for that particular body amount of water, for the antibiotics, if I was to be dosing Cipro, it would be 1,000 milligrams per 24-hour period. Since I was using Levo, I was dosing 750 milligrams per 24-hour period. So the milligram concentration a little bit less, and I did it for a 3-day period, and it worked out for me. You know, I don't want to give you guys instructions on what, like, for the most part, I told you guys what I did, but I don't want to give you a breakdown, step-by-step breakdown. I strongly and highly encourage you guys to seriously do your own research, because things like this are important, that not somebody else just tells you how to do it. It's something that you should practice and make a list, a step-by-step list on everything that you need to do for your specific system and apply it accordingly. Because if you don't, you know, what I did for my system might not work for yours. And that's why I'm so, you know, vague about the details. It's not because I'm trying to gatekeep. I'm telling you the medication I'm using. I told you the process that I went through in terms of turning off my equipment and all of that. It's just that in this hobby, it is a real thing that every system is different, and every system should have a different approach. I don't know what's going on in your system. I don't know what type of, you know, possible outbreaks you're having, etc., etc. Your approach might have to be different. Because if you go too aggressive, you might kill everything. But if you go too soft, you might not have an impact. So you need to understand that that's why I'm a little bit vague. In terms of actually doing an efficient in-tank treatment for your specific system, I think if you do it the right way, it will work out, you know, because it worked out for me. I covered all my ends, and I made sure that I did my homework. You know, before you do your in-tank treatment, you have to check all your nutrients, your parameters, and then you got to follow through one step at a time. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, you know, but that's the medication I used, and it seems like it worked for me. It's still hard to say if it had an impact at all, aside from the corals that, you know, my torch that I told you guys that was showing a little deterioration. That head is completely saved now. You know, I have zero, you know, concerns about having to chop the head off anymore. And my Ghani is still giving me full polyp extension, and that little white spot on the skeleton is still there, but it has not gotten worse. And that is very important, because when it happened to my red glitter Ghani, it was gradually getting worse. So far, it's only been, like I said, I'm only on day 5 of the treatment. So within a 5-day period, I would have seen some type of deterioration and that white spot getting a little bit bigger. Because on the red Ghani, Every week or so, I would notice, like, wait, this is getting worse. This is getting worse. It was very slow, but you could still notice subtle differences as the weeks went by. So, guys, observing is one of the most important things. I remember I said this on one of my previous old videos when I first started my YouTube channel. Observing is one of the most useful tools that you will ever have in this hobby. It literally is the most powerful weapon. Because if you have OCD like I do, and you pay attention to all the details and everything in your tank, in your fish, in your coral, I promise you, if something goes wrong, you're gonna notice it right away. It's like a spidey sense going off. Like you're gonna be like, hold on, this doesn't look right. So just, observe your tank. If you are gonna do an in-tank treatment, do your own research, apply it to your own specific needs, and observe, and observe. Make sure that you pay attention to all the subtle differences in your tank, in your fish, in your coral. Because even me, look, I have to deal with my Achilles tank, which is probably my favorite fish in the tank right now. I honestly, I love all my fish equally, but I love the Achilles tank a lot. And I kind of maybe value it a little bit more, not really, because I waited a long time to get it. So, now he got symptoms of ick. That concerns me. I'm not trying to brush over it like it's not a big deal, even though it's very light symptoms of it. And I'm very confident that I'm going to make sure I do everything possible for him to get over that. It's still not a good thing. You know what I mean? So make sure that you follow through. Make sure that you cover all your ends. Make sure that if you are going to do something like I did, you do your homework and you don't go solely based off of what I did. I love this hobby too much, and I would never recommend you guys to just, follow me, I'm the best. Never, because I make mistakes as much as all you guys do. Trust me. I got corals in this tank that since I first started in the hobby, and if I was to tell you that, you'd be like, and that's how big it got? Yeah, look at this torch. It's only like 4 heads, 5-year-old torch. Why? Because I almost killed it multiple times. It barely grew. I'm not perfect. I'm very far from it, but I try to do my best, to learn from my mistakes. I try to do my best to make sure that I right my wrongs. And if that's not something that you like to do, then this is not the hobby for you to be messing around with. You might as well just keep things nice and simple and not dabble around in these little experiments, because if you do them wrong, the results could be catastrophic. So just letting you guys know. This video's already been going on for 13 minutes. I usually don't go on for this long, but I just want to really tell you guys, thank you so much for following me in this process. I'm still going through it. It's still a post process. I'm still going to keep updating you guys. But at the end of the day, if you guys happen to just run into my video and this is the first time that you're getting to my channel, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let's talk about it. Teach me something. Let's converse, because I'm here to learn too. I'm not here just to give out information. But at the end of the day, I appreciate all of you guys. And thank you so much. Until the next video. Peace out, my peoples.